All right, we're back here for turn 5, and just to again clear up a couple of mistakes. Number 1 was in the initiative turn order from last turn. I was initially right in which card I should have used for the initiative value for blue team, and then I changed it. It actually was in blue team's benefit. It let them go before Charlie team when they should not have. There's no way really to fix that without going back and rerunning the whole turn and resetting it up, and I'm not going to do that. Secondly, I did indeed eventually place the enemy KIA marker, but it was in the wrong spot. It actually should be right here. Not that that matters. Thirdly is another issue. In Impulse 3, I should have moved Private Johnson out of the house or the building because he had a black 1 in his impulse order, and I didn't. I left him there. That's a mistake on my part. In the end, it probably doesn't change anything. I would have probably moved him into one of the hedges, so it really wouldn't have changed much, I don't think. The only thing that might have changed is if I had moved him here. There were a couple of shots on him in Impulse 4. They would have went against Private Bernstein instead. But they were all misses anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It seems like there was another one that I missed as well, but I also forgot. I forget if it was Private Johnson or Private Bernstein. They could have done spotting a turn earlier, and I forgot to do that. Again, there's nothing to do about that now at this point. They're all spotted anyway, except for the one red soldier on the other side of the tall grass. So, unfortunately, we've been able to correct the mistakes I've made so far. We're not able to really correct a couple of these, but again, I really don't think it changes the game much, so I'm not really going to worry about it. In a game of this type, where there are so many rules, number 1. Number 2, this is the first time really going through a game. I've played it, this scenario a couple of times to get familiar with it, but it's still a relatively new game to me. And then on top of that, when you're filming a video, sometimes other things confuse what you're doing, and so you forget a few things. I'm not going to worry about it. The next time I play a perfect game without messing up a rule of some kind, it'll be the first time. So, let's go ahead and continue on now with turn number 5. We'll start out with the friendly card phase. We have no cards in hand, so we need to draw one. The card we draw here is card number 50. It's again a discard card. There's nothing I'm not going to be able to use it for its discard ability, because we're going to have to use this to play. We didn't do a plan. We don't have excess of 5 cards, so we are indeed going to go ahead and play this. The initiative values for this turn will be Baker Team 22, Charlie Team 36. So, that's the end of step 1. Step 2 is to go ahead and supply orders. And I'm not entirely sure what I want to do here. I've got Private Walsh with a little bit better morale at this point. Oh, and speaking of morale, I've noticed it a couple of times in the videos. Oftentimes when I mean troop quality, I say morale. I hope that doesn't confuse anybody, but I've been saying morale when I really mean we're looking at troop quality. And so I apologize if that's getting somebody confused. I've been using the right numbers, I've just been using the wrong words sometimes. So with our orders here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to give aimed fire to Private Stubbs right here, because he's got several characters off to the right side of the map he can see from right where he is, and I would like to move him, perhaps even into the hedge, but I don't like the fact that when you move and fire, you get that -2 modifier to your weapon skill. So I'm going to give him aimed fire. For Corporal Thomas, though, I'm going to give him a run and gun order, because I want him to come up and start to take care of this soldier here. And as well, I'm going to give aimed fire to Private Walsh, even though he's slightly low on morale and wounded, which means he's going to have a -2 right off the bat to his fire skill. I'm going to give him aimed fire so he doesn't lose any more. So that's the end of Charlie Company's orders. Looking at Baker Company, I've got these two guys right where I want them. And so I'm not going to change their orders at all as far as that go, as far as movement. Private Miller, though, I actually want to move him up a little bit, so I'm going to give him the good old standby of run and gun. The other soldiers, however, I'm actually going to give rapid fire to Private Goldstein, who's in the rocks here with his bar. And I'm going to give aimed fire. I really want to either move him out of the way or give him a rally order, but I don't think I can with the lion's share of the remaining German soldiers all in his line of sight, basically. All 4 of those guys are in his line of sight. So I'm going to give him aimed fire because he's shaken and he's already suffering some losses to skills. So that's the end of the orders that I'm going to give for the friendly team. We now go ahead and give the orders for the enemy characters. 2 different teams, red team, blue team. We've got 4 red characters, 3 blue characters. I'll start out with red, and I'm going to do him first. This is the first red order for this turn, so it's also going to be their initiative value. Their initiative will be 53, and he is normal morale in the open, and so that's going to give him a suppression fire order. Now he's using a Kar 98K, so that suppression fire order changes to a slow suppression order. Next, we'll go to the red character over here, the cautious character in the rocks. And that cautious is critical here when given the order. He's in cover, but he's cautious. So we go down here. He also gets suppression fire. He would have gotten suppression fire anyway. If I recall correctly, he's using an MP40, and he is. So he doesn't get slow suppression fire. He gets regular suppression fire. And regular suppression fire, he gets to fire every turn, but he also gets a -2 modifier. The slow suppression fire only gets to fire in impulses 2 and 4, but doesn't suffer the modifier. All right, we'll go to the known red character over in the tall grass to the right. He's in cover, but he's normal morale. That gives him a hide order. So we'll give him a hide order. And then last for the red team will be our final remaining unknown character. He's in the open and normal morale. So drawing for that. In the open, normal morale is run and gun 6-1C. Now he's not within 4 hexes of a known spotted friendly soldier, so it just remains as run and gun 6-1. So let me go ahead and find a run and gun 6-1. I just saw one. There it is. And we'll give that to this character. He's going to move off in this direction and start firing. We'll now go with the 3 blue characters. They're all right in a row here. We'll go with the furthest one down first, and this will also be their initiative card, which is 79. That initial character is normal morale in the open. He gets an evade 5 GC. Now let's check here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's within 4 hexes of a spotted opponent, and I just want to make sure he has line of sight. Oh, it doesn't even need to check if he has line of sight because he has line of sight as well. So that evade 5 may turn into a grenade order. It may turn into a charge order. And again, when this order comes up, or when this opportunity comes up, you need to make a troop quality check. And his is going to be unmodified. His troop quality is 4. So the first roll is for a grenade order. The roll is 9, so no, he does not get a grenade order. So the next one will be a charge order. And we'll try that again. It's against a 4. The roll is 0. So he passes this check. And instead of the evade 5 order, that order is now changed to a charge order. And let me just find the charge orders here. Looking for them. Where are they? Here they are. What a charge order is, and I'll show it to you. He gets a movement in his first 3 impulses, but then melee in the 4th impulse. And he must, if he could all possibly can, get to a friendly character by the end of the 3rd impulse, so to melee. If he can do that, he actually gets a +1 troop quality modifier for the melee attack. So he's going to make his way up to against one of these guys. Since neither of them are going anywhere, I'll have to check to see which one specifically he'll go after. Next will be this character. He's in cover in the rocks, but he's also bold morale. So let's take a look at his order for bold in cover. That's rapid fire is what he'll get. So let's go ahead and grab a rapid fire order. He's going to shoot on all 4 impulses. He's low ammo, and it's a -2 modifier. Finally, we have the last blue enemy character in the tall grass, which is cover but normal morale. He gets an evade 1/6 GC. He is not within 4 hexes of a spotted friendly soldier. So his order stays the same. Evade 1/6. Let's go ahead and find an evade 1/6. A 1/2. You'd think these would be easier to find after a while, but they're not. There we go, evade 1/6. So he gets an evade 1/6. That is the end of placing orders for the enemy characters. So again, we'll come down here, take a look at our initiative track over to the right. Looking at, I did it again. I forgot to put the blue one down, but I know it was this one. Of course, the internal will be wrong again, but I'm pretty sure it's that one. The initiative values here start out with Baker team at 22, followed by Charlie team at 36, followed by red team at 53, and blue team at 79. So here in turn 5, it'll be Baker team, Charlie team, red team, blue team. Okay, we move back. Move back up here. And we're ready to go for turn 5. Now, before I get going, I'm actually just going to check here real quick on where that charge order moves. Let's see. He'll use all movement to try and enter the closest hex with a friendly character. Well, there's 2 of them that are within 4. If several friendly characters are equally close, the target will be the friendly character with the lowest troop quality. And if those are the same, it'll be random. And the lowest troop quality is Goldstein. So he's going to go towards Private Goldstein is who his target's going to be. All right, let's start. Impulse 1, we're going to start with Baker team. And Baker team with Private Miller is run and gun, so he's got to move. And you know what? I'm just going to move him straight up to reduce the range to up here. So he's done. Now we've got, I'm going to go with Private Goldstein. And, well, actually, we'll talk about Private Johnson here real quick because it's aim to fire, which is a 0, so nothing happens. We've got Private Goldstein. I'm actually going to have him shoot at the charging soldier because, let's be honest, I don't want to do a melee. That's, too close for comfort. So it's a bar, which means he gets 2 shots. The distance is 4, so there's no modifier for that. His order is charge, and he's in the open. Charge in the open is a -1 modifier for shooting, and rapid fire is -2 for shooting. So we're at -3, and so that's the end of the modifiers. But he does have low ammo and a normal to hit of 4. So he gets 2 chances of 1 or 0. First is 8. Second is 9. And that's really bad because with a 9, that's an ammo marker. And because he's now got 2 of those, he changes from low ammo to no ammo, which means he won't be able to fire anymore this turn. Now I'm going to check here just to be certain that when a character goes to no ammo to see if his order changes. I don't think it does, but let me just check to be absolutely certain. Alright. So weapons, heavy weapons, grenades, belt-fed weapons. You know, I don't see it here as a very quick check. Okay. So he's out of ammo. Let me just check here to see if he's got another weapon. And he doesn't. So I'll just have to remember he's out of ammo. He doesn't get to fire anymore. That's the end of Baker Team Impulse. We now go to Charlie Team. First is aimed fire is 0, so nothing happens. Aimed fire is 0, so nothing happens. And run and gun. So I'm going to move him up 1 right there. He's now going to be able to shoot at this red team soldier. But that's the end of Charlie Team. So we're done with Baker and Charlie. We now move to red team. And checking here, he is the first or the highest. He's got slow suppression fire, which is 0, so nothing happens. And then we've got this character here who has suppression fire. Now he can't see here, he can't see here, but he can see here. So he's going to shoot at Private Miller with the grease or the MP40, and that's a 1, 2, 3 distance. I do believe that is a +1 modifier, and it is. The run and gun in the open is a -1 modifier, so that cancels that out. And he's got a -2 modifier on his order and a -1 modifier from his morale. So that's a -3 modifier on a weapon skill of 5. So he's got a 2 or less, but he gets 3 shots. That's a 9. And just like any other weapon, that makes it low ammo. Second shot is a 4, which is a miss. Third shot is a 5, which is also a miss. But I'll go ahead and place the low ammo marker. And so that's the end of him. We've now got a hide order here. And a run and gun 6, 1, and 6 is right here. And so he's done. So that's the end of red team. We've now got blue team. First character is here. That's an evade 1. So he moves up into the tree here. We've now got rapid fire here. And he can see both characters. So whichever one is easier to hit. We've got rapid fire in rocks or aimed fire in building. Let me check the modifiers to see which is easier to hit. A rapid fire in rock is -2. Aimed fire in a building is also -2. They're also the same distance, so again it becomes one of a random order. Private Bernstein will be on a 1, 2, or a 3, and it's a 2. So he's shooting at Private Bernstein, the out-of-ammo soldier. So let's take another quick look here. It's rapid fire. He's got low ammo. No change to weapon skill because of his morale, but he is using a grease gun with a weapon skill of 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No change on the range. It's -2 because in the rocks, and another -2 because it's rapid fire. So that's -4 for the modifiers on a weapon skill of 5. So he gets 3 chances at a 1 or less. First is an 8. Second is a 7. Third is a 6. So he misses all 3 shots. So that's the end of his impulse. Finally, we have this soldier here who has charge, which is a move 1 order in impulse 1. And so he moves here. And again, I'm just going to check the charge orders since we haven't had that one yet today to make sure. Well, I'm looking at grenade. No wonder it didn't look right. Just moves 1 hex. He doesn't enter a hex with a friendly character, so that's the end of his impulse. And it's the end of blue team, and it's the end of the first impulse. We'll now go ahead and move to the second impulse. Baker team. All right, so we've got Private Miller with run and gun. We've got Private Goldstein with rapid fire, but he's out of ammo. And we've got Private Johnson with aimed fire. So he can't do anything. He's going to fire, but the only character he can see is up here. So that's a 1, 2, 3 range with an M1. An M1 with a range of 3 is a +1 modifier. The character he's shooting at is suppression fire into rocks. And that's a -2, so between them it's -1. But it's also -2 because of the order, so that's -3. His light wound makes it -4. His weapon skill is 4, so he needs an exact 0 to hit. And it's a 4, so he misses. Finally, we'll do Private Johnson. He's got an aimed fire. I'm going to have him shoot at the charging soldier. Here he's got a -2 because of shaken. A distance of 3 is +1, so that's -1. And he's charging in the open. That's another -1, so it's -2 on a weapon skill of 5. So that's a 3 or less. And it's a 7, so that's a miss. Now, even though he's out of ammo, Private Goldstein can still spot. So let's check over here with this only left unknown character as to whether he has line of sight, and he does. So we'll do a spot check for the last unspotted character. That's a 6 distance or range, so that's a 0 modifier. It's run and gun in the tall grass, so that's also a 0 modifier. And checking out any modifiers to troop quality, he's got a +1 because of his bold morale, so that's a 5 with a -1 modifier because I think it was a -1, wasn't it? Run and gun in the tall grass. No, it's 0, so he's got a 5 or less chance. And it's a 0, so that is a spot. So this will be our last chance for a dummy character, and it's not a dummy character. So, all remaining 7 enemy characters on the board are indeed soldiers. That's the end of Baker Company here in Impulse 2. We now go to Charlie Company, Impulse 2. First off will be aimed fire here. I'm going to have him also shoot at the charging character. I really want to get that charging character before he has a chance to do any damage. Line of sight is absolutely there. The distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with an M1. There is no range modifier. Again, charge in the open is a -1 modifier. So that's a -1. Aimed fire is nothing else on a 5, so he needs a 4 or less for a hit. And he rolls a 2, so we have a hit. So let's select our wound card. it comes up as bad wound. So, first thing that happens is he's given a bad wound marker. His order goes from charge to duck back. So his charge ends. And we do a wound morale check. And he's sitting at an adjusted troop quality of 4. Or at adjusted troop quality of 1, which is what his wound morale check is at. So this doesn't look good for him. The roll is a 5, so that's a -2 morale level, which takes him down to shaken, which itself is another -2 morale level. He's out. Alright, that's another enemy character taken care of. And let me put the markers back in the trays here. So that was a good good shot from way over here. Took out an enemy character that was looking to do damage. Alright, we're now going to do Private Walsh shooting at this character up here. The distance is 2 with an M1. And that is a +1 modifier. He's got a slow suppression fire in the field, and that's a 0 modifier, so we're sitting at -1. And aimed fire is no modifier, but light wound is -1, cautious is -1. So that's a +1 modifier for range, -2 other modifiers, which makes it a -1 net on a skill of 4. So that means a 3 or less. Rolls a 6, so he misses. Finally, here for Charlie Company, we've got Corporal Thomas at a range of 2. He's using a grease gun, however. That is still a +1 range modifier. The slow suppression in the field is a 0 modifier, so we're still at +1. And he has no other modifiers. Well, he has got a run and gun, so it's -2. So that makes it, with a weapon skill of 5, a 4 or less, but he gets 3 chances. Odds are really good here. So he gets a 3. That's a hit. And again, we get 2 more chances if necessary. And we're not going to need it because it's KIA. So he is out of the game, KIA. And that reminds me, I just missed another KIA over here. I believe that was right there. Alright, so that's another soldier out. And we're really starting to get close to a rout here. We've only got 5 characters left for the Germans, for the enemy characters. Additionally, my guys here are now going to be able to start making a sprint for these other victory point locations. But that's the end of Charlie Company. We go to red. There are 3 red soldiers remaining. We start here with suppression fire. And again, he's going to shoot here. He's got a -1 because of morale. And -2 because of orders, so that's a -3 modifier, but he's only 3 hexes away, which is a +1 modifier. And run and gun in the open is a -1 modifier, so we got -4 +1, that's -3 modifiers on a weapon skill of 5, so he needs a 2 or less, but he's using an MP40, so he gets to shoot 3 times. First time is 8. Second time is 3, but he needs a 2. Third one is a 2, so he hits. But it's suppression fire, which means the hit is only a morale check. So let's check Private Miller's morale, his troop quality. He's got bold, which is +1, and he's got light wound, which is -1. So it's a straight up regular troop quality of 4. And he gets a 4, so that's a pass and nothing happens. Now, I do want to mention Corporal Thomas over here hit that soldier on his first fire. He could have had 2 more, but he didn't need it because he took care of the character on the first one, so he doesn't get any more. Going back to red team, this character is hiding, so he doesn't do anything. This is run and gun and firing. The only one he can see is Private Goldstein, and so he's going to fire at Private Goldstein. He's using a car. The distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's no range modifier. He's, I forget what he's got here. Rapid fire in stones is -2. The order is run and gun for another -2 modifier. So that's -4 on a weapons skill of 3. So his to hit is -1, which means the rule of zeros comes into play. So we'll roll for the hit, but it's got to be a 0 first to get the second roll, and this is a 5, so that roll doesn't do anything. That's the end of red team. We now have blue team. Start here, which is evade 6, so he moves further into the rocks. And then we've got rapid fire. And again, he can see both. I believe we have aimed fire in the house, rapid fire in the rocks. Let's take a look just to see if they're the same. Aimed fire in the building is -2. Rapid fire in the rocks is -2. So they're the same to hit. They're the same distance. So it's random. And we'll do, again, Private Goldstein of a 1, 2, or 3. It comes out as 1. So it will be Private Goldstein. The range is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 using a grease gun. So there's no modifier there. The order terrain modifier is -2. He's got rapid fire, which is another -2 modifier. So we're at -4 on a weapon skill of 5. So he needs a 1 or less, but it's with an MP40, so he gets 3 chances. First is a 7, that's a miss. Second is a 2, also a miss, but barely. Third is a 4, another miss. That's the end of blue team, and that's the end of the second impulse. We'll be back in just a second with the rest of the turn. All right, let's continue on with impulse 3 of turn number 5. We start with Baker Company, which is down here in the lower right-hand portion of the people on the map. We have aimed fire, which is 0, nothing happens. He's got a rapid fire order, but he's out of ammo, and since he doesn't have another firearm, he cannot shoot. If he had a pistol, he could shoot, but he doesn't. And we have run and gun 1. And I'm going to move him up. Boy, I don't know if I want to move him up 1 more. I do. I'm going to move him up 1 more to here. There's no more spotting that needs to be done, so Baker Company is done. Charlie Company. Let's take a look at what we've got. We've got Private Stubbs with aimed fire, which is 0, so nothing happens. Private Walsh with aimed fire, which is 0, so nothing happens. And Corporal Thomas with run and gun, which is 1. Move 1, so I'm going to have him move directly north because he's going after that victory point location. All right, so that's the end of Charlie team. We now go to red team. We have 3 red team members remaining. And the first one will be this red team here. He's got suppression fire. He's going to fire at Private Miller. That's a distance of 2 with an MP40, which is a +1 modifier. Run and gun in the open is a -1 modifier, so those cancel each other out. And he's got a -2 for suppression fire and -1 because of his morale. So that's -3 total. he gets a 2 or less for a hit, but again, it's an MP40, so he has 3 chances. It's a 5, a 9, which is his second ammo issue. So he goes to no ammo. So, like Goldstein, he cannot finish up his third shot here because he's now out of ammo. He's done. Next character is Hyde, which is 0. And then we've got Run and Gun in the 6th direction. So he moves here. And we're done with red team. We now go to blue team. He's got Evade 1, which is in this direction. And we've got Rapid Fire 1 with low ammo. Can't see here, so it's again these two. And again, it's equal distance. It's equal ability to hit, so it's random. We'll go with Private Goldstein again on a 1, 2, 3. It's a 4. So we'll be on Private Johnson. The distance is 5, so there's no modifier there. It's aimed fire in a building for the target terrain. And aimed fire in a building is -2. Additionally, it's rapid fire, so that's another -2. And with a weapon skill of 5, that brings his 2-hit number down to 1. But again, it's an MP40, so he gets 3 chances. That's a miss. That's another miss. And another miss. So he missed on all 3. That's the end of blue team, and that's the end of impulse number 3. We'll move on to the 4th and final impulse here of turn number 5. We start out with Baker Company. Now, Goldstein can't do anything. But Miller can shoot. The only one he can see is this character here, but that's who he's going to shoot at. It's a distance of 2, which is a +1 modifier. It's a suppression fire order in rocks, which is a -2 modifier, so we're at -1. We've got Run and Gun, which is -2, so that's a -3 modifier. And light wounds is another for -4. Private Miller's weapon skill is 4, so we're at an exact 0. And we roll a 2, so that's a miss. All right. And again, this is impulse 4, so Private Miller is done. Private Goldstein can't do anything because he's out of ammo. So that leaves us with Private Johnson and aimed fire. He can't see here. He can see here. He can see here, but he can't see these two. So he's got one of these two. He's going after this guy. It's an M1 with a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's no change of modifier there. It's rapid fire and rocks. Taking a look at the chart, rapid fire and rocks is -2. It's an aimed fire shot, so no modifier. But shaken is -2, so that's -4 on a weapon skill of 5, leaving a 1 or a 0. And it's a 1, so it's a hit. This could be a big hit. Go ahead and check the wound card. Light wound. All right, so for a light wound, we go ahead and place the light wound marker. And I do believe this is the first wound on this character. He's got bold, low ammo, and now light wound. All right. Additionally, his order changes from rapid fire to duck back. Again, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference in this impulse, except that he won't get to shoot that last shot. And then we do a wound morale check. Now his normal morale is, his normal troop quality is 5. He's at bold morale, so he's up to 6. But the light wound brings him back down to 5. And we roll. It's a 4, so he passes, but with a wound morale check, even when you pass, it's a -1 morale level. So he was bold, he loses a level back to normal. And we'll go ahead and add those guys back. So that's the end of Private Johnson's impulse, and the end of Private Johnson's turn, and the end of Baker Company's turns. We now go to Charlie Company. We've got aimed fire, but nobody to shoot at. We've got run and gun, but nobody to shoot at, so he has to move. And again, I'll move him up 1. And he has run and gun. Now, he's got 3 characters he can shoot at, but he's going to shoot at this one because it's the closest. It's a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so there's no range modifier. It's suppression fire and rocks, so that's -2. He's got no other modifiers, so it's a -2 on a weapon skill of 5, so a 3 or less is a hit. And it's a 9. Now it's a miss, and low ammo is now added to Private Stubbs. That's the end of Charlie Company, or Charlie Team for this impulse in this turn. We go to Red Team. What do we have? Well, he's first. He's suppression fire, but he's out of ammo, so he can't do anything. So he stays where he is. Hide does nothing. Run and gun, but he can't see anybody, so he moves, and he moves in direction 1, which is this direction. So he'll now be able to see next turn. That's the end of Red Team. We now go to Blue Team. We've got Evade 6, which comes down into the cornfield. And we've got Duck Back, which changes to Hide. That's the end of Blue Team. And that's the end of Blue Team's impulse. That's the end of Impulse 4. Taking a real quick look here. Boy, that was a couple of quick impulses, like less than 10 minutes for 2 impulses. They normally take about 10 minutes each. There are no other ancillary die rolls. So we take a look at our end of turn information. There's no grenades. There's no medics. There's no planning. No smoke. No waiting soldiers. So we remove all orders. So let's go ahead and get rid of the orders. Boy, we're down to 5 enemy characters. I still have all 6 of my characters, some of which are wounded or morale affected. Okay, so that's it for the orders. We move the impulse marker back to impulse 1. We move our initiative track markers. It's not the last turn, so we move the turn marker to turn 6. Okay, so we're going to be up to turn 6. We will discard our cards. And that's the end of the turn, so we will be back with turn 6.